In the Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna has taught this to Uddhav as the sovereign means of sadhana. He says there is no more powerful means of sadhana. What does he teach? Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijikupsate. All living beings are situated in God, and God resides in all living beings. One who clearly perceives this truth does not hate anyone. So, very interesting, the word out here is pashyati. Pashyati means to see. Now we people think that we all see. But the Vedas say it is not so. You are thinking you are seeing, but you are not actually seeing. One professor, he brought a white sheet and he put a black dot on it. And he asked the children in the class, describe what you see, write it out. They all wrote a paragraph on the black dot. The professor said there was a complete white sheet. Did you all not see the white sheet? They said, we all saw the black dot. So this was a little instance of the limitation of what we see. Now Shri Krishna has said a very similar verse. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. He has used the word pashyati twice. Arjun, those who see me in everything and everything in me, they are never lost to me and I am never lost to them. So, the Vedas have already told us that God is everywhere. But we are not able to see Him everywhere. What is the reason for that? The reason is a defect in our own vision. There was one sadhu, he was sitting in a ditch by the side of a road on the highway and meditating. Now at night, one drunkard went by. The drunkard looked, what happened, man? I took 6 pegs and I am still holding it and walking. You don't have the capacity to hold your pegs. You fell in the ditch in just a few of them. To the drunkard, the sadhu also appeared to be a drunkard. After that came a thief. The thief was surreptitious. And I need to hide. Hopefully the police is not looking. Hopefully no one is looking. And he saw the sadhu. He said, oh my God, there's another thief out here. The police may be on the way to catch him. Let me scoot from here. So to the thief, the sadhu seemed like a thief. And then along came a sadhak. And he looked and he said, oh my God, this person is sitting unmoved. There's something to it. He started observing carefully and he realized that this man was in a divine trance. So he offered flowers in respect and went off from there. Now look at how 3 people saw the same person. How 3 people saw the same situation. So we all think we see the world. But the Vedas say you don't, we will show you the world. That's why we are Darshan Shastra. Our vision of the world is impacted by the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. There's a story that Tulsidas ji was relating the Rama Katha, and when the prasanga came, that Sita ji was in Ashok Vatika and Hanuman appeared. So Tulsidas ji started describing that the flowers were white in color. They were blooming in the Ashok Vatika. So the story goes that these are sometimes apocryphal stories. Hanumanji arrived there and said, Tulsidas, you have described it wrongly. The flowers were red in color. Tulsidas ji said, Bajrangbali, I am going by the Shastra Praman, what Valmiki has said. I am saying they were white in color. Hanumanji said, I was present there and you are telling me that there was some other color? In the meantime, Sita Mata arrived. She said that both of you are wrong. The flowers were savla colored. They had a bluish tinge on them. Now the confusion increased. The mother is coming and giving her verdict. Now who is going to refute? Hanumanji. But Hanumanji said that I can't be so wrong about it. I remember perfectly. I remember noting it down as well. And Tulsidas just said, then how come that Valmiki has written something wrong? Finally, Bhagavan Ram arrived. Ramji said, actually, you are all right. You all were describing what you saw. Tulsidas is right that the flowers were white and colored. But Hanuman at that time was so full of anger towards the demon king Ravan that his bloodshot eyes, to them they seemed red. And Sita was in so much of viyog of Ram that everything was just reminding her of Ram. And that is why they took on the tinge of Ram's color and they were seeming bluish green. So, likewise, when we see the world, we see it through the lens of the three gunas. Somebody who's greedy thinks everybody else must be also greedy. So, this verse is telling us that look, use knowledge and practice knowledge. God is everywhere in this world. So when by sadhana, by practice, you will see God everywhere in this world, what will happen? You will neither hate anyone, nor will you envy anyone. Vijigupsati. Jugupsa is envy. Vijigupsa is extreme envy. So hatred and envy. Why do we hate people? We feel somebody has harmed my self-interest, so we start hating. One king, he called his minister and said, I have written a poetry. The minister said, really? Oh king, so amazing. What is impossible for you? So the king said, I want you to listen. So the minister sat down and the king related his poetry. And at the end of it, he asked the minister, how was it? The minister was frank. He said, oh king, it was completely aga bhaga anga, like some bhonda has presented it. The king said, throw him into jail. After 3 days, he was released from jail. The king said to him, I have written another poetry. Sit down, sit down. आइए और सुनाते हैं. And he started relating the poetry. The moment he completed, he said, how is it? The minister got up and started walking. The king said, where are you walking? He said, I'm going to jail. So you start hating somebody who has hurt your self-interest. Either you may express it like the king if you have the power, or you keep the hatred in yourself. One teacher used to, in the olden days, the students, they used to be beaten up by teachers. So the teacher used to beat the student. And he said, Johnny, I love you so much. And that is why I beat you. Johnny said, Sir, I love you even more. Unfortunately, I am not able to prove my love to you. So the hatred could be there inside or outside. And worse than the hatred is envy. What is envy? Envy is one of the worst defects of human nature. In envy, we are hating the success of somebody else. That means you see somebody flourish, you see somebody progress, you see somebody succeed, and it ignites in you irsha. So this irsha is a complete 100% material quality. Its origin is in many things. If this guy is succeeding, I am looking bad because of his success. This guy is succeeding and success is a limited pie. So his success is going to make my chances of success diminish. Whatever be the case, if we detect envy in us, we must remind ourselves that this is a gross material emotion. So what is the solution to it? The solution is what he has given, Ved Bhagavan has given in this mantra. So remember, the Vedas are manifested by God himself. He says, learn to see me everywhere. The Puranas say, yatra yena yato yasya yasmai yadyadhyatha yada syadidam bhagavan sakshat pradhan purusheshvara. God is everywhere. Dravyam karma cha kalascha swabhavo jiva eva cha vasudevat paro brahman na chayonyosti kutrachit. There is nothing apart from God everywhere. Now you say, I can't see God everywhere. That's your problem. No luko vyavalokate yadidiva suryasya kim dushanam. Patram naiva yada karir vitape doso vasantasya kim. Karir is a particular tree very common around the Delhi region of North India. So this, no matter what the season, it doesn't have leaves. It has only got twigs. So if the monsoon isn't able to bring leaves on the karir, the defect is not of the monsoon but of the karir itself. If in the broad daylight the owl is not able to see, the defect is not of the sun but the eyes of the owl, which are so big that they get blinded. So likewise, God is everywhere. We need to practice to see that. Now when you start practicing, your whole focus will change. The practice would be in stages. The story of Babri-San is very famous. Bhimsen's son was Ghatotkacha and his son was Babri-San. He is also worshipped in Rajasthan as Khatu Sham Devata. So he was an astonishing personality. And when the Mahabharata was about to begin, now all the great personalities felt obliged that this is an internecine war and we have to side with one of these warring cousins. Babri-San was also coming. And he had been taught by his mother, you take the side of the underdog. So Sri Krishna knew that Babri-San has it in his ability to change the course of the whole war. And he is undecided. This creates an indeterminate. So before Babri-San arrived in Kurukshetra, Sri Krishna met him on the way. And Babri-San, of course, offered his pranams to Bhagavan. Sri Krishna said, I would like to see your prowess. What can you do? Show me. Babri-San took out an arrow, placed it on the bow and released it. The arrow went and with unsurpassable drone technology maneuvering, it pierced and grabbed all the leaves of a tree and came and fell at the feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna became impressed but also worried. Oh my God, whom am I dealing with? But then, Krishna is Krishna. So he said, Arey Baba, you are a great devotee. Will you give me something that I ask? Babri-San said, whatever. Are you sure? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. You ask for my head, I'll give it. Kabirji says, Sheesh hai lahu ki tumdi, Hari amrit ki khan, Sheesh diye jo hari mile to bhi sasta jaan. This is a bag of pus, blood, mucus, and God is a treasure chest of nectar. If to get God, you have to give your head. It is a very sasta sauda, cheap bargain. So Krishna said, that's exactly what I wanted to ask. Give me your head. Without thinking, Khatu Sham, he chopped off his head and presented himself. Sri Krishna took the head and kept it there and said, now he was a semi-celestial being. He was not a human, he was a semi-celestial being. So Sri Krishna said, you simply be here and watch the war. See, the Bible says, even they serve who merely stand and wait. So you just stand and watch the war. Now the whole war took place for 18 days. After 18 days, Sri Krishna remembered and came back to Babri-San and asked him, what did you see? What did you see? Babri-San said, Shyam Sundar, I only saw you in different forms in this battle for 18 days. So, God is everywhere. One vision is Brahma Bhut, where you actually see God everywhere. That, of course, would be a stage of perfection. But on the way, at least you can learn to see His blessings in your life. When you learn to see His blessings, you learn to see others as connected to Him. They are also His children. They are also aspects of creation. We will then naturally develop an equitable vision. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, the Gita says. And a natural compassion will spark towards others. How can I help them? And if I can't help them, at least let me not harm them. See, that is the nature of a magnanimous personality. The story goes of Mahatma Gandhi. He's led the civil rights campaign in South Africa, unique in world history for its non-violent nature, and then he came to Bharat, India, and he was leading the freedom movement there as well. So on one occasion, he got onto the train and one of his shoes slipped and fell on the track. Immediately, without thinking, he took the second shoe because the train was moving. And he had just gotten on. So when you get onto the train, there's this region between the base of the lowest step and the platform. So you need to be a little careful. And the shoe got lodged and dislodged. So without thinking, he took the second one and threw it on the track as well. His associate said, "You lost one, you wish to lose the second?" He said, "Somebody is going to find it. It makes no sense if they find one shoe. At least if they find the second shoe, it will be of use to someone if it is of no use to me." This is the mindset of compassion. So the envy gets replaced by empathy, understanding, kindness, and compassion. One mother, she was wealthy and she had a poor neighbor. She asked her 6-year-old son, "Go and request them that we want some salt." Now, salt is not something you ask from others. It's the cheapest of things. But go and ask them for salt. So he went and did as he was told and brought the salt and said, "Mummy, you don't have money to buy salt." She said, "Beta, I've got salt at home." "Then why did you ask me to go and get salt?" She said, "They are poor. They are in need. And they come to me for little things. I don't want them to feel embarrassed that it's a one-way street. They are the only ones asking and I am not asking. So I have thought I'll ask them for something which they would easily be able to give. If I had asked them, give me a cabbage, if I had asked them, give me a mango, they may not have had. So when I said, give me this, there is no doubt that they will be able to give it. That sense of compassion comes when we learn to see the presence of God everywhere. And then slowly, this feeling, mine and yours, starts dissolving. We people have divided the world in so many boundaries, countries, etc., etc., etc. And the Maha Upanishad says, Ayam nija paroveti ganana laghu chetasam. One with a small intellect thinks in terms of I and mine. Udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. One who has a broad intellect sees the whole world as their own family. So this has to be practiced, which means you start off. When you sit in meditation, you bring this knowledge to your intellect. Radha ji is in this because it's the energy of God. Radha ji is in this as well. Radha ji is in them as well. Radha ji is in the whole world. Shri Maharaj ji says, Char achar me lakhu apno, ishta kah nit pyare. Char is sentient, achar is insentient. So, the way to conquer hatred. Now you say, I should not hate that person. But that doesn't serve the purpose. I should not envy this person. Doesn't serve the purpose. Think, Sri Krishna is sitting in this person. Sri Krishna is sitting in this person. That person misbehaved. Sri Krishna was testing me. So change the way you look at things. In Hindi, the saying is, Drishti badaloge, to Srishti badalegi. When you change the way you look at the world will change for you. Sri Krishna says that those who have learned to see me, they no longer hate, they no longer envy. Actually, in the Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna has taught this to Uddhav as the sovereign means of sadhana. He says there is no more powerful means of sadhana. What does he teach? He says that just Uddhav, lie flat and offer your pranams to all living beings. You will slowly cultivate the sentiment of seeing the divinity in them. And when you start seeing that divinity, your mindset, your consciousness will change.